everyone, it's Diane Evans with stampinwithdiane.com. I'm an independent Canadian Stampin' Up demonstrator here in the interior of British Columbia. So if this is one of your first times joining me on YouTube, welcome. I'm so glad that you found me. Make sure that you do subscribe to my YouTube button, hit the bell, and you'll get notified immediately as soon as I upload a new video. So today what I want to do is I want to show you a swap card that I've made using the Mistletoe Magic. A great stamp set. I didn't really quite know what to do with it, but once I started playing with it, I was starting to have some fun. So let's get on down to my desktop. So this is the Mistletoe Magic. Basically, when I do a swap card, I try to do a template, and I'll show you how that template works. But this is the stamp set that I'm working. I love the sentiments on here. Unfortunately, because of the way I was doing this card, I couldn't use them, but I think it's going to be a beautiful card. So it comes with dies. So remember, when you do purchase a bundle, that you do save 10%. So we're going to actually use this image and this image. So what I go and I do is I go and I set up a template. So I would go cut out these, cut them out, and then what I do when I do a swap, like I say, I go and then I cut these. So I'm just going to lay that down in there, and then I can show you exactly how this gets done. So I come in with my, and I'm going to use Memento with this because I'm going to use my stamping blends. So I'm just going to ink this up. I want to make sure it's right in our template. And then I just come down, and then I'm just going to use my Chucky, and we're just going to actually get this so that we've got it. So it's going to, just like that. If it doesn't press down enough, we can just go back in. And then I just take my take your pick tool, grab this, and bring these out. And then this way, it's really, really easy. I don't have to go stamp and then line up all of my stamparatus each and every time when I do these images. So then what I do at that point too is then I would turn around and I would start coloring these. Now, at first, what I thought I'd have to do is use my light and my dark, and I'm using Soft Succulent, but you don't really need to do that. I find this works just great by just using the light Soft Succulent. So I just come in and I color it. And I've actually gone ahead and colored this, but I just want to kind of show you how I did the coloring on this. So, like I said, I used just the light, and I can come back in and add some dark there to get my shading. And I don't need to go and change the colors up all the time. So you can see how easy that really does go. So I've gone ahead and I've colored both this piece and this piece. I've done it ahead of time, but I want to show you another effect that I've done. So let me just get this part on, and I'll kind of get this done up to this point, and then I can show you what I did with the rest of it as well. So this is mistletoe, and mistletoe has white berries. So just going to go in, and then what I've done is I've used this pearlescent pearlized enamel paint, and this is the basic white. It comes in a pack of 3. You get red and you get black in a package of 3, and it's in our J2D mini catalog. And then what I did was I came in here and I colored. What I did was I went in and used this paint, and when I did use the paint, I colored the berry that was in the back first, and then came and colored the one that was up front. And then I did that on all of them. So let's just, this does take a while to dry. So it's something that you're going to want to do ahead of time and let it dry before you go and put it onto your card. And I happen to have one of those done ahead of time. So we just, like I say, I didn't take too much time coloring it. I went in with the dark and kind of feathered it out. Just like this. And I want to show you how this one goes as well. So like I say, I started with the back berry first, the berry that's in the back of the picture itself. And then I did the next one. And then turned around and did the top one. And that gave the illusion that, you know, the depth perception that is there with it. So like I say, you can go do that. And then you want to put this someplace safe to dry. And then for that purpose, I now have this done and it's good and dry. Now, it only took maybe about 3 hours. Some people have said, oh, you should really let it stay over for 24 hours. 24 hours is not necessary, that's for sure. All right, so I've got those done. Now, my card, for my swaps, I do not have to do the middle part of the card. So what I'm going to do is, this is 4 1/4 by 11 inches, and I scored it at 5 1/2. Just going to go in there and do my bone fold. And then to give it that elegance, my goodness, I don't know where that one piece went. Now this is from the Fitting Florets dies. And this is something that is going to be a preview. It is coming as a demonstrator. You can have it now, but this is a preview that you can get. And this is something, it's from the J to J mini catalog. So you get to see the different things that you can get on there. So I wanted to put that on there. And when it cuts out, you get a back piece. You know what? I'm wondering where that is. Okay. So when this cuts out, it cuts out both pieces. So I wanted to put that on and I thought, oh, it needs something else on there. So what I did was I took some of our cardstock vellum and I ran it through this Merry Melody embossing folder. And then the one thing I have to tell you that's really difficult about this is reading the music. I'm not a musically inclined person. So I did it and I made sure that I kept the top up at the top so that I knew how to get it. So what I want to do is I wanted to glue this on here. So I had to go ahead and I glued it. You should really use a silicone mat because you might get some of that on your onto your desktop. And so all I did was a really thin bead of glue along here. And what we're going to do is we're going to let this set. And by letting it set, we're not going to have glue that oozes out. It's actually going to, it stays. So you let it set to a sticky state. I'm just going to go ahead and do all of this. But like I say, we're going to let it set. And we know that we have problems with the vellum, that the vellum, you've got to be careful how you go ahead and attach vellum because it shows. But I'm going to show you a trick that works really quite well with this. All right, so I've got that. We're going to let that just set for a second. We know that this is going to go like this. Let's let that set. So then what I did was I went and I cut this Christmas banners. And I cut one of these banners out. And then I used this 'Tis the Season. So I used soft succulent there. So I'm just going to quickly do that while we're just letting that set. Using my embossing buddy. Like I say, I use the 'Tis the Season. Now, because this is photopolymer, I'm coming in with my paper piercing mat. And we've got I used the embossing buddy there. So we want to use Versamark. So I'm just going to come down, tap very lightly. Got to be careful that you don't get a halo with this. And see, this 'tis the season is curved. So what I do is I come up from the bottom. I try to get this right in the middle. And then what I'm going to do is use my white embossing powder. I keep my embossing powder in one of these, just these containers. And then what I do is I take a piece of cardstock and I just take, this is white embossing powder. It comes in a basics pack of 3, which is white, black, and clear. But I use my cardstock, and the reason I do and leave it out of the box is so that I don't get the static on the spoon. So we've got it like that. Oops, we'll go ahead and put our lid back on there and bring in our heat tool. Now the heat tool has 2 different temperatures to it. I'm just going to let it heat up, but I'm using also the tweezers that's from the embossing kit. So we'll just go ahead and just get this going. Once it starts, I just move the paper. Just like so. Now I probably could have gotten that a little bit straighter, but I did go ahead and have another one. They both look about the same. And that looks okay to have it up at the top. Okay, so now we're almost ready to put our card together. Now remember, this is setting, so that should be pretty close to being done. So before I attach this vellum, I'm just going to line it up on the card so that I can see where I want to put this frame. Now it's set. Well, it's not quite set. So let's go ahead and put some dimensionals onto the back of this for the time being. Oops. And we want to put one in the middle so that it doesn't dip. Now I'm also going to start putting some of these dimensionals onto this bigger piece here. And then we're going to have to use some small dimensionals there. So let me do that ahead of time. I just want that because there's quite a bit of glue there. And like I said, I don't want it oozing out when I press it down. So with the little mini dimensionals, I can then go ahead and put them in such a position that it's going to lift up these pieces where I need it to be lifted up. I'm being quite generous with these. Oops. Like these small ones as well because they get up into those spots, right? Don't want that dipping down there. So let's go ahead and put this here. And maybe one over there. All right, those are ready to go. So we've got our banner, we've got our mistletoe, we've got our frame. Okay, thinking that should be okay. So now I'm just going to take this frame. Now I can give you one hint. This frame could stretch out. So what you want to do is you want to lay this down onto your vellum and center it. And see, by doing it that way, we didn't get that glue oozing out in between those holes. And then the center part here, we just want to make sure that I've got, if this frame doesn't fit in there, it means that you've kind of stretched the oval out. So I'm just going to come in and glue this. Whoops, oh dear. We didn't want that to happen. Okay, and then this is just going to go right in there like so. So we're just going to make sure that that gets down there. And now I can go ahead and let's put this part on there. And that's just going to go right like this. Now, the beauty of this now is now that we've got these pieces already down on the vellum before I've attached it to the front of the card. Remember, vellum will show through. So now I can just go to the back and put the glue on the back, because this part's not going to show. And let's go ahead and we can put this down onto the card. Remember to make sure that we've got the card going the right way. And that can go on there. But we're not finished gluing that down yet. The beauty of this particular embossing folder is that it's got a lot of detail on it and you won't see the glue dots through. Now I could have done this, but it's so much easier to do it this way. So I've just taken this. I'm just going to put a glue dot behind those notes there. Another one over here. And then we're going to do it down here as well. We could do it in the middle, but I don't think it needs it there. So right there, and see, you're not seeing those glue dots through onto the vellum. And one right here. And like I say, I could if I wanted to there, but I think it's still pretty good there. All right. So now what we want to do is we want to come in with these mistletoes. So I'm just going to take off my dimensionals off of here. Whoops. And then I'm going to put some glue up at the top here. Just a thin bead of glue. Because I kind of want this to go so that it's attached there. Just like so. And it's not going to hide those words. Then we'll come in with this one as well. And we're going to do that. And that's just going to come in over top of that one. Whoops, and I meant to glue down this part right there. We're just going to hold that down so it also doesn't ooze out. And then we're going to come in with our soft succulent ribbon. We'll tie that into a bow. I don't think I got my edge out. Just tie that a little bit bigger. I tend to leave my ribbon sometimes right onto my my row of ribbon. So we're just going to pull this down. And remember, with a bow, your whole key to the bow is making sure that you've got it tight. And then that way it won't come apart. And then we'll end up trimming that off in just a second. So I'm going to come back in with those glue dots. Now there's a right and a wrong way to the bow. Put right there. And let's go ahead and just put that right there. And then this part here, we can turn around and just trim it. We'll trim this part as well. Now, if you don't like where that bow is lying down, I could sit and actually, I think I'll just try to manipulate it so it goes onto here. And there's our card. And of course, if we're sending this card, we would put a center on the inside. And then, of course, at that point, we could use our sentiments, and I would go, 'tis the season, may the miracle of this season bring peace, or may your heart be filled with the joy of this season. Could go on the inside. Or Christmas blessings to you and yours, or just Merry Christmas on the inside. So I hope you enjoyed that. Like I say, remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel. One of the best compliments that you can give me is to give me the thumbs up, and you can also basically share it with a friend. Another thing that you could do too is ask somebody else to just subscribe to it. Remember, if you do live in Canada, I would love to be your demonstrator. So if you need a demonstrator, I'm happy to help you. In any event, you guys have a great day, and we will talk to you soon. Bye for now.